So do you hear me now, Pedro? Antonio?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Should we then just go for Fuse and see how it goes? I will stop my GoToMeeting, okay?
Okay.
But we do have a backup then. That's good.
Yeah.
Leave the meeting. Okay.
Let's see if I can quit here. So, but I don't know if it's a good thing to do that, because maybe people will start joining in the GoToMeeting now.
But you wrote in your mail that just in case
Yes.
just in case it doesn't work. So probably people will first start Fuse, but we can see what happens.
Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
We were struggling with the different systems, and actually at one point having GoToMeeting and Fuse on both working. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I can see two Antonios right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
I have no 20s.
Just one Antonio. It's enough.
Yeah, I had the same thought when I saw the email, is that people might just click on that and not realize that that's a backup. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay. I don't know if it's a good idea to send another email.
Yeah, we can wait.
Or.
But Antonio, do you still have your GoToMeeting on just in case that people sign in?
No, because I do have to maybe to install the GoToMeeting on my iPad.
Hey, you know what? I will open it.
But you can't do both, I think. Or on your.
But well, my GoTo is on my laptop and Fuse is on my iPad. So
Okay, then go ahead.
Yeah.
Because I think I didn't leave the meeting, but I'll try to do the same here.
Yeah, because it says waiting for organizer, so you will have to.
I'll have to sign in. Let me see. But I'll deal with that. Let me see if anyone else joins in.
Antonio, I can't find anything about the Slimming World discussion. Did I just miss that, or
on Basecamp?
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the progress and I can't find it anywhere. But
Hi, Nanette. I'm glad you joined.
Good evening. How are you?
Hi. Glad you could make it anyway. Fine. Perfect.
Hello, this is Cornel speaking.
So it's someone else joined in, but I'm just trying to find out who it is.
This is Cornel.
Cornel. Oh.
Hey, Cornel. Hi.
we just see a number, I guess, right? We don't see his name.
Because Cornel is joining by phone, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Makes sense. And Joe.
Also joining in. So Russ is. I will talk to Russ because Russ joined on the.
Russ. Okay.
Hi, Russ. Russ. someone is having problems. So, but we do have Pedro, Cornel, Nanette, and Joe. Russ is on GoToMeeting. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, I just sent him a mail to try to go on Fuse.
And also Jennifer. Yeah. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. Hi. Can you try to use the Fuse instead? Okay. No, it was Grit that wasn't be able to join in by Fuse, but now she can. So maybe it's better to have that one. Thanks.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, and Russ got the message. He's got. Who's Joe 2? Who is Joe Salmon 2? Apparently there's a second Joe.
Maybe she's trying to join in at the second time, but because the first one. Hi, Joe.
Joe, are you there?
Okay, Jennifer is also in. We got 2 Joes, but I don't know why.
Hi, this is Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer. Hi. Did you call in or did you go through the internet?
I went through the internet.
Okay, because it sounds good. Oh, Benedict joined.
Good.
I'll try to share my screen also while we are just for. And Diane also joined.
Hi, Diane. Oh, Diane looks different today.
Hey, Mark.
So, but Diane is not. We don't have.
Looks like
sound.
you're still muted, Mark.
Who is Mark?
Hi.
He's our tech guy. He's helping Diane connect.
You're in, yeah.
I can vouch for him.
Yeah, I was like, who's saying that? Oh, Jennifer.
It's me.
Yeah, Diane. I'm like the placeholder until Diane is here. We haven't seen her yet, so.
Yeah, she told me she's coming from another meeting, and so she's on her way.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm not videoed. I was giving you thumbs up, but I have no video. So.
Yeah, you have no video. Is that
I know, I did that on purpose.
Oh, come on. Can I do that?
Yeah, you can if you want.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Cool, this works.
Cool.
So just Joe Salmon and Trina and Russ.
Nobody else is joining in on GoToMeeting, so. And Russ was telling that you will try the Fuse system for now. So.
Yeah, he said, okay, we'll try now. So, okay, there's Joe again. Hi, Joe.
Russ joined.
Joe, can you hear us?
Something wrong with.
Maybe you can. Shall we ask Joe to call in instead? Because apparently Cornel's connection is quite good.
Okay, let me. I will.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Okay. Okay,
Joe.
Joe.
Yes.
We got
Yeah,
it.
sorry, I was logged in, but then I had to unplug because my docking station had no sound.
Okay. We're getting there. Okay, so Russ and Trina,
Yeah, we're using
and
this
was
one.
Rolf gonna join?
Operating system's more current, so it can run your fuse. That's what the problem was on this one. So you're right here. I'm just the guy filling in.
Okay. I'm just gonna get some tea.
Yeah. Fan is getting tea.
So in Russ, I don't know why it doesn't have sound yet.
I'm in. Is that okay, Antonio?
Okay. You're
Good.
in. Yeah.
Perfect. So Trina, because Trina also tried through GoToMeeting. Is Trina joining?
Oh yes, she's joined by. Let me see. I will talk to Trina. Maybe you can and ask her to join on the through Fuse. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
Just sit here, I think.
Okay.
They do the rest. Your image is here and others that join it here, and then I don't know how it chooses which ones are out.
I think if you talk.
I think that's it.
Okay.
How is our sound from over here? I don't have a headset or anything, but are we?
Hi.
It's perfect.
Can you join
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Can you join in by Fuse, please? Okay, sorry.
Someone's joining. Buzzing, making noises, but
Thanks so
yeah,
much.
I think all you have to do hang out.
Cool. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Trina is joining in also by Fuse, so I think we are almost set.
Yeah. Before we again, those not that haven't done it yet, to mute the microphone when you're not talking, especially like Diane, because the sound is really strong from your office. Can you mute your microphone when you're not talking?
Yeah. Huh, there's absolutely no sound here, so that's strange.
Yeah.
Okay.
For us, it's okay.
Yeah. So Trina is on her way. Did she join?
Trina is already offline on GoToMeeting, so she should be joining in a moment.
I muted it. Was that better when I muted it? I'm going to mute it now. Tell me if it's better. Go
Hi,
ahead.
Trina.
Yeah, it's nice, Diane. It's okay. Yeah.
And Trina joined?
Yes, hello.
Trina?
Hi.
Oh, okay, perfect. Was Rolf gonna join? Because he has not joined.
Yeah,
No?
I don't have information that
Okay.
he wouldn't. So okay, so
Okay.
maybe
Okay,
I'll just share also.
We will. Yeah, but we will get started. We will get started because we have quite a full agenda, and it would be good to cover quite some points today so that we have enough time on the Thursday meeting where we have somewhat more time to look into some strategic points that I want to touch on. So the first agenda point of today is again have a report from the annual meeting. And I want to stress that I'm really happy that Nanette is joining because there was a little bit of disturbance. Nanette mailed us a little while ago that she could not make it, but I think it's really important for us that the local organizing committee is really on top of everything and really has connection with EC, because there are a lot of things I think it's better to go through the local organizing committee than directly between the EC and the private conference organizing, the meeting makers. So Nanette, I'm really happy you could join, and I will have you go over the report so that we can see how things are going and then maybe ask some questions.
Yeah, thank you. Great, and good evening, everyone from very snowy Scotland tonight. I'm confused, really. The thing that I cannot do is Thursday's meeting. I always said I could do tonight's meeting, but I cannot do N2, which I understand is Thursday the 22. And I'm not sure what else I could report on Thursday, but neither Annie or myself are available. I could get some of our other local organizing committee maybe to stand in.
No, Nanette, it's not the idea that you are at both meetings. We just mailed you to check if you would prefer the Thursday or the Tuesday meeting to report on the annual meeting. So it's perfect that you are here today. We don't expect you to Thursday as well. Just today is fine. Yeah.
Well, that's worked out perfectly because I could always be here, but I could never be there on Thursday. I'm sorry we've created confusion by responding tonight, but Annie Anderson, my co-host, is out of the country and she only responded, I think, to Antonio today. However, so here we are here, and I can make a short report. And the first item is that our sponsorship and exhibition bookings are indeed coming in. There is £6,000 already committed, and we expect another 10,000 in due course. Our National Health Organization have already committed 5, and I think the government will come up with a matching 5. I'm still trying to negotiate that, but I think that's very promising for us. And I think it will trickle in smaller amounts now. These are maybe the bigger ones, the silver deals that meeting makers have offered for people with exhibition space. So I think that's pretty good news. As far as I'm aware, we've not had too much sponsorship for ISBN-PA before. Is everyone happy with that, or?
I think we need, well, normally the idea is to have a minimum of 25,000. And that's well, most conferences at higher numbers. So I think it's really good that some sponsorship is coming in and numbers start to look promising. But it's still quite limited. The problem is that the society, of course, really relies on the revenue of the conference, and given the high costs, it's much more would be much better. But I don't know, of course, in which degree there's possibilities, because I of course know that the climate is quite difficult.
A number of people have actually reduced what they said they would do in the beginning, which is a little frustrating, but to do with the climate. So we'll continue to push and try to build up, I think, with smaller amounts rather than bigger ones going forward. So we will take that message on board. The next point is that I think all the paperwork for the bank account is complete, and so that can be opened now by meeting makers. And they're trying also to get the online credit card processing sorted out. I think that's a bit of a frustration at the moment for people. I'm not, of course, in control of that. That is meeting makers, and they assure me that they're working on that at the moment. So far we have 63 people registered. and the Twitter account has 272 followers. So I think that all the committee should immediately try to follow us so that we can definitely tweet forwards, as it were, about any messages about ISBNPA 2015, if people are not already doing that.
In that regard,
go ahead.
In that regard, Annette, I have a question and maybe also a remark is regarding the online payment. Indeed, it's really, really crucial. I already did get a couple of mails, and because we really need this very urgently. So it would, but like you say, it's not in your hands, but it would be good to really be on top of this and make sure that it gets arranged very shortly. And then regarding the let's see, what was the other thing? Yeah, regarding the Twitter, I also did get a message from some people that apparently the mailing regarding the conference seems quite limited. They were telling me that they're getting so many more mails from other conferences compared to the ISBNPA. So maybe it might be good to look into some extra email blasts. Maybe once you have the online payment, to have an email blast that this is now active, and just to again remind people of this meeting coming up.
Okay, we can certainly do that. And as you can see, we have a local organizing committee next Thursday where we're revisiting the conference venue to go through a variety of things. So I can take those points with me to that local meeting. And there is a training going on about the conference app, which frankly, I think Antonio might know more about than I know because I'm not doing the training. Can you report anything about that, Antonio?
No, it's just that we are starting to use the app to promote also the conference, and that we will start including the program and the abstracts as soon as we can. So it will be another way to have people learn about the conference. That's it. So for now.
Okay, so this adds to Greet's point about additional methods of attracting attendees to the conference.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, that is the extent of our local report this evening, but we will have more to report after we meet next week. And so we'll write a short report. And I do confess that the reporting has fallen between my research coordinator and meeting makers. And we're going to sort that out at our local meeting. I think the report is the responsibility of meeting makers, and we'll be making sure that we make that report regularly to you.
Okay, are there any questions for Nanette?
Nanette, it's Joe here.
Hi there, Joe.
Hi. So do you have, many more potential sponsors on your list to go to? So, today you got a few to approach, yeah?
Sorry, I didn't catch that, Joe. Could you do it maybe more slowly?
Have you got some potential sponsors still to approach? Have you got many to approach?
Yes, we're just following up on those initial approaches. I think there's definitely some from government and some smaller amounts from people that we're trying to now, push over the threshold of making a commitment. So possibly a handful, yes.
Yeah. I think it will hopefully work out. We had a similar problem in Melbourne when we had the conference here. We had trouble getting anyone sponsoring over $5,000, and but we ended up, I think, just having lots and lots of small pots of money, and it all added up in the end.
Yeah, that's really what we're hoping for, and we're making that push from now forwards with all the contacts that we had originally made through the local organizing committee.
Yeah. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Nanette?
Maybe I can just include some information regarding the possibility of Slimming World to be a sponsor. I don't know if it should include Nanette on this discussion, because we were maybe having this discussion a little bit later. So Slimming World presented themselves as a potential sponsor, and they were not a company that was in our list. And we have mixed feelings about having a company that likes Slimming World as a sponsor. I don't know, Nanette, I don't recall that you have been in that discussion, but Annie was and Russ was. And I noticed that Pedro wasn't, but Nana. So Pedro, I'm sorry, I thought you were included in that discussion regarding this.
What was the view of Russ and Annie? I would take their advice.
Mm-hmm. They were sort of opposites, because Annie says that it could be okay, but Russ can also tell us his view about this. And Nana just told us, okay, maybe we could have some problems with commercial weight loss or weight management programs like Slimming World, but it's really quite new. This discussion is from yesterday or 2 days before.
My thoughts, Nanette, I'm not really sure. I think of all the companies, they're better than some. I think my point was the EC probably needed to debate it and reach some kind of conclusion. I didn't have a gut instinct. It didn't feel like Coke to me, but I wasn't really sure, and I felt that the EC needed to discuss it and come up with a view as to whether or not we should pursue it further. I mean, I know that there is some evidence behind them. I mean, they're basically an alternative to Weight Watchers, which is, they help people lose weight and keep it off. I don't know how I feel about it, really.
I'm neutral to that topic, and if the EC decided that we should pursue it, we would. There is some evidence in the UK from Kate Jolly's work at Birmingham that this particular approach would be effective for helping people lose weight. Is that your point, Isminpa?
Okay, well, we've had Weight Watchers in the past, I think, but my suggestion would be to look into this the coming days. Maybe during our Thursday meeting we can come back to it, because so that everybody can get a chance to look into the exact, get some more background information, and then we'll get back to you on this very shortly, because that's important.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be here on Thursday, and I'm looking at their website. And I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but I would not be thrilled about it. I'm just reading featured success with an amazing 60-pound weight loss. It's no wonder that Pamela Friedman is now living life in the fast lane. I don't know. We've been so careful about things. I would approach this very, very cautiously.
I think they might probably stand to gain more than what we might.
Pardon?
I think they might gain more than what we would from the alliance.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. We'll come back to this and carefully look into it. But it seems, there's some. If there's some issues, then I would rather be careful than take the risk. So, but we'll come back to this. Okay, maybe one last point is regarding the finances. Because we've been a little bit concerned about the fact that we've been exceptionally high prepayments, and it was in the contract, and we might have overlooked it a little bit, but we have to be careful now that once people start to register and so on, that this money is used and that we avoid having more prepayments, but maybe Jennifer, you can say something about it, and maybe you already talked to Fiona from Meeting Makers to make sure that we don't run into problems with this?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell, I haven't been notified of any other large prepayments that are due. I would certainly hope that as membership registrations come in, that those are prioritized to go toward new expenses, and that it would be less likely going forward that we would be asked for more funds.
Okay. So
okay, so I can put that on the topic for our local organizing committee to report back to you after next week.
Okay. And then Nanette, we will also get back to you regarding a fellows dinner. This is something we'll discuss right after this topic. So thanks for the advice of this one restaurant. We'll get back to you on this so that we can have this reservation put up really soon.
Yeah, I think if I book it, I can get you a 25% reduction.
Perfect.
Because of an association with the university, and it's a Scottish modern menu. I think it would work very nicely for you.
Okay, perfect. So any other questions for Nanette?
No one is asking me why in the heck I'm standing up all the time, and you might not be surprised, but I've got this new monitoring tool that we're testing that also gives me the number of hours I'm standing up. And today I've only stood up for 5 hours, 57 minutes. So I better get on with standing up more today if I'm going to reach my target of standing up for 6 hours, 30 minutes. So that's why I'm standing up.
Okay, perfect, Nanette. Well, thanks for joining and for the report, and we'll get back to you on those issues.
And so sorry about the confusion of N1 and N2. I really didn't get it, but you're not expecting me or Annie to be present on Thursday.
No.
Very happy. Okay, good.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, good night. Bye. Have a good meeting.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So maybe one quick point before we move to the abstract review report. I had the suggestion to do a fellows dinner linked with the conference, and that's why we already asked Nanette to see if she had some suggestions. But of course, I first wanted to check with you all if you think that's a good idea, because we've done it in the past, but lately we have not done it, and we've just combined it with the gala dinner. But I kind of feel that for the fellows, it's really nice to have something separate, and because I really think we need to treasure their input, and this can be very important for the society to really have this get together. So the idea would be a fellows dinner on Thursday night, because actually that's pretty much the only possibility. How do you all feel about this?
So great. Is that something that is supported by the society?
Yeah, that would be my suggestion, because actually at this point we're not doing anything really sponsored by the society. Also, like our own costs we've been sponsoring, but I think this did been sponsored by the society, and I think because we really also want to continue to involve the fellows in maybe some decision making, in strategies, in the mentoring and so on. So in my opinion, this is something that we could offer them and should be paid by the society. So I'm also looking to Jennifer, but apparently the finances are quite good. So I would be in favor of having this covered by the society.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. My understanding is we did get some negative feedback last year when we did not have the fellows dinner. Is that correct?
Yeah, there have been some comments.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth the goodwill of the fellows, and certainly they're our most recognized members. You know, I want to be very mindful of costs going forward, just because, you know, if you look out a couple years, things do start to decline in terms of our reserves. But this is obviously something that I think would be useful.
I'm positive too.
I'm sorry, Joe, I did not get that.
Sorry, I'm in favor of it.
Okay. Any other?
I didn't understand what Joe said, but I'm positive about the fellows dinner, to getting back to that tradition, if not every year, at least every other year or so.
Okay, Joe also said she's in favor of it. So so we will proceed and look into this. So just a nice dinner. I mean, it doesn't have to be really fancy and really expensive. It's just like a nice get together. And this place that Nanette pointed out, as you heard, there's some discount for university. So I think it will work out fine. So we can proceed on this, and we will let you know the final cost and see if everybody can agree with this.
So we should save that night also.
Yes, yeah. I'm sorry, it wasn't clear. Yeah, so the idea would be to have the EC together with the fellows to go to this dinner. And of course, there might be some clashes for some of us, but it would be good if at least the majority could join in this dinner.
Yeah, I think last year we decided not to do it. It wasn't so much a financial decision, but we felt that there was the conference dinner. You know, there was we weren't going to have any free dinners to go out with other people. I think that was the issue.
Right. Yeah.
So this year there'll be a conference. Is there a conference dinner one night also?
Yeah, gala dinner's on Friday night.
Friday. Okay.
So, but you have a day on Wednesday night. You can go.
Okay. Go party.
Okay. Next point, Benedict, can you give a report? You don't have to go into all the details because, of course, we did get them, but the main points and the things you want to discuss regarding the abstract reviewing.
Okay. Well, one thing interesting to see or to stress is that we had the new rule about having only maximum 2 presentations, and as you can see in the report, we only had minority of people who had more than 2 presentations submitted, so this is really good and is really working. Then maybe important for next year is that it would be good to have more reviewers, would be good to have more backup reviewers, because the more people involved, the more people who do not respect deadlines and who have to chase up or find backup reviewers. So this is something we have to work on for next year. So the plan is that we compile the program next week. So we are preparing everything this week. We are again experiencing some problems with printing the reports because it's all separate files, no separate page per abstract. So this is really something hopefully the new system will be able to cope with. One important thing I would like to discuss is the time we currently have to assign abstracts to reviewers. This year and also previous years, we only had 1 week to assign all abstracts to reviewers, and this is really too short, taking into account the great number of submissions we had this year. Luckily, Antonio was a great help. I wouldn't have been able to do it without his help. But for next year, I think we really need more time, and the only possibility to make more time for this task is to make sure that the deadline for free paper submissions is earlier. So this is something we have to take into account when planning or setting the deadlines for the next meetings. So this is something maybe to discuss with you. I don't know what you all think about that.
Maybe just one remark is, of course, I totally agree that it's not feasible the way it is now to do it in 1 week. On the other hand, of course, it's already quite early because people have to report results, and it's really long in advance that they already have to have the results. So if we really want to have new research, it's always better to have a somewhat later deadline. So I agree that just from a practical point of view, we have to make it a little bit earlier. But in the meantime, I would be really in favor of looking into possibilities like you're doing now with Oxford to see if the assignment system can be optimized so that it's much easier and that we don't have to go to like a month to do the assignments, because the way it is now, if you would have to do it by yourself, just 2 people, it easily takes a couple of weeks, and we should avoid this just because we don't want to have a too early deadline, just in my opinion. Are there other thoughts on this? Okay, then what I would
agree with what Greet said. Let's see if we can make it shorter, but otherwise the reviewing team needs enough time.
Yeah, well, it's already difficult to find enough reviewers. As you can see, I invited I don't know how many here. I invited more than 300 reviewers, only 137 accepted to review, and the big problem is also that the Christmas holidays is in between. Also Australian summer holidays. So it's yeah, the timing is difficult.
Benedict, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wondered if, and I know this is sort of down the track. I mean, I think, well, 2 things, just in terms of your time frames. I mean, maybe, although it is very difficult to get reviewers, is it possible to not give them quite so long to do the reviews, which may then make the time from receiving the reviews to you allocating the, the program allocation, give you a bit more time? I know that puts more burden on reviewers, but I mean, when I get a deadline, I tend to work to that deadline, and I just put that date there, and then I do it, rather than saying, "Oh, look, it's in my box now. I'll do it right now." I look at the date that it's due, and then I try to do it then. So I don't know if other people work like that, but I think if you then move that date back a week, that gives you sort of another window. So that's one point. The second point is more of a selfish one. Just as a reviewer, when we sort of, if we do get sort of a more automated system, whether there's some way of giving some feedback to the reviewers regarding, the way that they've scored and how that sort of maybe balances against other reviews or decision making, because it is, if people might be critical at different, in different areas, I tend to be very sort of, when I'm looking at these, particularly for oral versus poster presentations, I'm really trying to focus on sort of, the quality of the abstract in terms of, does it add value? Is it robustly conducted? Does it, is it of interest? Is it going to be sort of, a bit more novel, a bit more exciting? And that may be sort of a different perspective to what other reviewers have. And I just wondered how we might, just to, at some stage going forward, that we might get some feedback to reviewers.
Yeah. Well, I think this is an interesting point. This is something we can currently not do in the system, but this is something we can. They are developing a new system right now. This is something we could ask them if that would be a possibility for future. I think also for abstract submitters, it's always interesting for them also to see the scores, or at least especially to see comments, because this can help them for their further research. If we could provide all this information anonymously, I think that would be really interesting for future. But then we need to have a good system who support all these features, because now this is not possible. And regarding the 4 weeks that reviewers have to review their abstracts, I realize that 4 weeks is a long time, but I also realize that you don't need 4 weeks to review 20 abstracts, but the time frame is that long because Christmas holidays is in between. And some people prefer to do that before Christmas. Some others prefer to do that after Christmas. And by providing such a long time frame, we have a greater chance of attracting reviewers. So that's the reason.
Yeah, it's a difficult balance though, isn't it?
Excuse me?
It's a difficult balance though for you in terms of the time frames, in terms of, getting us to, or other people to review, and then give you adequate time to get it out. So I do acknowledge it. I just, it was just an idea.
Yeah.
Maybe something else, Benedict, to look into is if we really, because so the program will be developed next week, and if we would have a very nice system, it could be that we need less time between deciding on the program and having the program book or app design and everything. So maybe they can also be some saving of time during that time frame. So that's something we need to look into, how much time they minimum needs, because there's still quite some time between the program developing and the conference. So I'm not sure if that's really necessary.
Yeah, well, we have to send out, I don't know what the deadline is now. Probably it's always half of February that we have to send out notifications. So we need some time to prepare this in between. But we'll have a look at the whole timeline and see what we can do.
Yeah. And I also think it makes sense to involve maybe one of the new EC members in this task, also as backup and for future. So I think that does make good sense.
Yeah, this was indeed another point that was more mentioned in the abstract review report. Antonia and me were also wondering whether it would be an option that the editorial assistant of the journal would be able to help us with some more administrative stuff regarding the abstract reports.
And I think we will come back to this point because it relates to some other issues too. So I think it's a really valid point, and I would suggest to come back to this at a later stage.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for all the work on this and for reporting. Are there no other questions or issues regarding this point for Benedict? Okay, thank you. And then as a follow-up related to this regarding the program, because I was also wondering if you do have all the information to develop the program next week. And so maybe Pedro, you can give some report on the program development. Pedro, you're still on mute. Yeah.
Sorry, this takes a bit to unmute. Yes, so we will meet next week here. We have a good team of people lined up for that. I think we have what we need. The question that we might want to discuss briefly today is just how to solve the fact that I think we'll have more posters that we were than we were originally planning for. So Antonio and I talked about this last week a bit. Maybe Greta, Antonio has talked to you as well. I think we need to change something in the program in order for us to fit all the posters that we will have. I think as far as long and short orals, we're fine. I don't think we can change much there, and we've discussed this, and I think we settled on a good solution. But we just need more room for posters, and I think Fiona has managed to find some space or fit more posters than initially planned, which is good. But I think we still need at least one more session, Antonio, if my memory is correct. So I guess we were leaning towards having a poster session on the first night, on the opening night, which might fit well, presumably or hopefully, with some of the networking that goes on that initial night. The alternative, I think, because we're having one poster session on each of the other 3 days. I think the only other alternative would be to have 2 poster sessions on Thursday and Friday, one earlier and one later poster session. But I think that might be a worse solution because changing them, it's always a mess. Antonio, did I cover it, or is that something else you wanted to say?
That's it. Maybe just that we will have more time for some sessions, for the Thursday and Friday sessions, and then those sessions will be allocated to the regular abstracts deadline, and then for the late abstracts we will have the meeting or the session on Wednesday or Saturday. That will take a shorter time. That's it.
That's right. So a slight, advantage, I guess, for the regular posters in relation to the late breaking, by having a bit more time, posted up, whereas the other ones get the initial session, which it's also fun. So I guess that's it. And as far as the decisions that we have to make now, the rest of it is, I think it's going to go as usual, with Benedict leading us into finding good sessions with all the symposia and orals that we have to line up. But I think we'll take care of that next week. Benedict, is that? Do you think we have? Are we prepared? I think we have pretty much all we need, right?
Yes, yes, we have all we need. I have all reports from all reviewers since just a couple of hours, and we have printed out all reports, and we are now sorting them according to the scores of the reviewers. So we have everything.
So how do you feel about an additional poster session in the first day? I guess that's the question.
Well, I think it's a better idea to have a poster session on the first day than having to switch during the day. I think you're right that could be a mess.
Yeah, I agree. Of course, there was some people that pointed out this first day is not ideal because, of course, people just see each other and talk, and they don't really look at the posters. So there was some comments on this, but it's probably still better than having two a day. I don't recall how strong this comment was. I remember it was one comment which was stated a couple of times, but I don't exactly recall how strong it was. So any other views or comments on this? No. Maybe just one more comment I have regarding the program is that I just want to point out again to take really good attention to the nutrition and physical activity balance, because we did get some comments, and I think it's correct from some of the fellows also that the balance is really shifting very hard to the physical activity in different also in the journal and in the conference, the meeting. So I think it's really important. Of course, they will not be 50-50, but I think it's important to make sure that, and at some points it can be good to maybe prioritize nutrition somewhat to not to have a too much unbalance.
Great. Can I comment on that? I wonder if we should also be encouraging our nutrition colleagues to really promote the society to their colleagues, because we can only do what we can in terms of who's interested. If we're getting more papers submitted in physical activity to the journal or more abstracts from physical activity submitted to the conference, we can only put together a program that's provided to us basically. So I just wondered if we need to have a discussion maybe on Thursday about a particular strategy that's targeting the nutrition side.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good point, and that was on my agenda anyway for Thursday. But I think one thing is maybe to make sure that nutrition is still well presented at the conference. But of course, when main abstracts are on physical activity, it makes sense that there will be more sessions on physical activity. But this is just maybe one of the strategies. But of course, there's other things we need to do to get a better balance.
Well, we will have I mean, Annie will be on around the table next week, and I'm also fluent enough, and I know the history of our society, and I can ensure to the degree that it's possible that we have good sessions on nutrition to the extent that we have submissions that are good.
Yeah.
So I think among the two of us, we will be paying attention to that.
Yes.
But having said that, this is a discussion that we always have, and we can have it again on Thursday. There's arguments on both sides, and I guess I agree with both concerns that both Greet and Joe have expressed.
So as a nutrition person, again, since I won't be on Thursday, I'll just say that there are a lot of nutrition journals where you can, not a lot, but there are numerous good nutrition journals where you can publish without having to pay. And I think that is, that works as a disincentive. And it may be the same thing for physical activity. I don't know, but that's a discussion that always happens in our group. People want to publish it, but anyway, just I don't know if there's anything we can do about it, but it's food for thought.
Okay,
if you remember, if you just one more note, if you remember last year's statistics on the submissions, we were actually quite pleased that nutrition submission had increased last year a bit. So we weren't concerned that we were dropping on that side of things. I don't know about this year, but we were somewhat relieved last year that we interest was there in the part of nutrition, and so that was a good sign.
Yeah, I don't know the numbers by heart, but I could look them up by Thursday. But I'm sure we have quite some papers on nutrition only, and also the combination of nutrition and physical activity. So I don't worry about that.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry,
go ahead.
One thing I'd like to quickly dump in there is, well, obviously this will depend on what's been submitted, but it'd be really good to keep the different SIGs in mind when designing the program. If there'd be enough abstract within that would align with a certain SIG team, that would be really good to have a stream around that. Just wanted to try that out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, then we will have a quick update on the Cape Town and the Victoria meeting. So maybe Antonio, can you just very quickly say a few words on this?
It's what's written in the report. So we have both venues secured with contracts. Also, the hotels that are more close to the venues are also secured, and the local organizing committees are very active in terms of they are always demanding. Just now I have received an email from Victoria, and from what I've seen from the contracts, there are no money advancements like the ones we have in Edinburgh. So my guess is that what we experienced this year with all those prepayments won't happen again, at least during the next couple of years. So.
Okay. I maybe just want to add that I will do a site visit to Cape Town in February, just pointing out that this is not on the cost of the society, on my own cost. So I will do some preparation with Kathy, and we can look into different things related to the preparation of the Cape Town meeting. But they're really on top of everything, I think, so that's good. Okay, regarding the midterm reports, we did get in some very nice reports. Trina, can you quickly go over the membership committee report? And of course, we've had the report, but maybe you want to point out some things and quickly go over it.
Thanks, great. Yeah, there's really only just a couple of things that I wanted to flag. So in the, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong document. Let me just flick across. In the membership report, just flagging that we now have 4 new members. So we have 8 on the committee altogether, which is good. They're all listed there. A couple of questions under point 2, membership. So members of the subcommittees and the SIGs are supposed to be members, but we noticed in the membership committee a couple of those have dropped off, and I think that it's just a bit of an ad hoc thing that we monitor that, and I'm just wondering if there's some way that we can streamline that so that that doesn't happen again. We don't have people falling through those cracks. I don't know if that's possible with the system that we have, or if we just have to keep doing it on an ad hoc basis.
Trina, I think that if what we need to do is that before we accept people to be in these committees, we have to check if they are members or not, because what happened before is that people were invited directly by the chairs of the committees, and that will lead sometimes to those awkward situations where people were no members but they accepted the role. As we have now, the chairs have to say, okay, I want this person to be a part of the committees, and then the EC votes on that, and during that time we can check if they are members or not. We can only vote if they are members.
Yep. Okay. Good. I think also what happened is that, well, on the membership committee, we had at least one person who was a member when she joined the committee, but then her membership lapsed during her period of being on the committee. So I guess that was more the situation that I was thinking about.
Well, that's more difficult. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that we're just going to have to put up with doing that on an as-needed basis. Okay, so the next point was just about changing student status membership from 5 years to 12 months post-PhD, and I know we've talked about this before, and the reason it's raised here is because it was on last year's membership report, so I'm not sure that there's been a resolution in the interim to this question.
We do have a talk about that on Thursday. We should at least try to change it, our bylaws on the Edinburgh meeting. So until then, we will decide that.
Okay, great. Under point 3, the last point on page 1 about mentoring. So generally we would accept only members of the society into the mentoring system, but given our push to try and support researchers in low and middle income countries, do we want to consider mentoring researchers in those countries who aren't members of the society? And if we do, I think we can look at some way of trying to allow them access to the website. Do we have any thoughts on that?
I think this was indeed the idea, to have like a kind of scholarship, but just for the mentoring, that we would allow some, like a certain amount that they could maybe apply for it to become a mentee without being a member, just for those countries, to just kind of get them into the society, and then it can be looked at a later stage. Maybe we will have to see how long they can do this, and maybe set some criteria for this.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm happy to have a bit of a think about what those criteria might be and draft something up then, Great, if that works.
So, Trina, regarding the mentor program, because it's ready to be used, what is the exact plan to start off with? Because probably you will have like just a limited number, and then see how things go, and what works and what doesn't work in maybe just like a few months try out. Is that the idea, or how do you want to open it up?
I think that we've already done, my understanding, Antonia, correct me if I'm wrong, is that we've already done a little bit of testing and that it seems to be okay.
Yes, I can confirm that with the person that have tested and the system. So it was Ellen Brown. I really don't know if anyone else will have any sort of difficulties, but with her it went well.
Okay, so maybe that's a good idea then, Greet, is that maybe we trial it with a dozen people or so as mentors and see how it works for a while.
Yeah, and maybe we can have then like kind of report on it, and even write something about in the newsletter how it goes, and maybe some experience from the mentors, the mentees, but maybe just keep it to a limited number just to get it started. That's just a personal suggestion. I don't know how others think about it.
Okay, so maybe it's worth us inviting members of the EC and fellows in the first instance to come on board as mentors and just keep it with those people if people are happy to do that.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, all right. So I'll draft something about that and some instructions on how people can get on board, and we can get it distributed around. That's it from me. Thank you. Unless there's any questions.
No questions for Trina. Okay, thank you so much, Trina.
Thanks.
Okay, so the next point is the Advocacy and Policy Committee, which is normally led by Nana, but Nana could not make it, and she also did let us know that the main thing they've been working on is the sponsorship done, but apparently they haven't really made big progress. But the idea is to work on this in the coming months, so for sure to have it finalized by the Edinburgh meeting. But I'm not sure, maybe Pedro, because you're also involved, is there anything else you want to report on for this committee?
No, I mean, not really, except for the fact that we will, well, one of our workshops will be on advocacy, and it sort of follows that meeting that we had last year with a bunch of leaders and people that were interested in policy and advocacy around policy. And in that workshop, I will have I'm part of it, and my role is actually to report on what our difficulties, our challenges have been in pushing our advocacy agenda in the last, forever actually, but at least since I can remember. And as you know, we've never been very successful at this, and this might be there might be some lessons here for the future for other societies, or as far as how scientific societies can be active and leaders in terms of advocacy. So I haven't thought too much about it yet, but I may get in touch with some of you. I may also talk to Knut Inge a bit to see, because he has been involved in this before, and see what we take from our experience thus far. If it's just a matter of us not making a priority of it, or if it's just other difficulties that that societies might have in this regard. Not that I'm a great expert in this, but I thought as a past president and having tried to having been on that meeting last year, I thought I would try to represent our society and what we've struggled, or how, and also maybe how we see that in the future. But we may talk about it a little bit more.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
That's it, really.
Yeah. Thank you. We did get an extensive report on the 6th. So Cornel or Diane, can you just or point out the things you want to talk about?
I think you can all read it. A couple of the more important points would be is that Carly has announced her resignation from the committee, and so we'll be looking for someone new. But she's still going to be on until after Edinburgh, so we've got some time there. In the large table that was attached, you can see the activity that some of the SIGs have reported so far, and it's highly variable, as you would expect. Some not responding at all, others showing to do quite a lot of stuff, so it's good to see. I think for me, one of the main points is communication, so not just between ourselves and the SIGs, but also for the SIGs to talk to each other and how they should, how they can or want to talk to their members. So to work on that, I'm organizing a meeting early next month with all the SIG chairs so that we can share experiences and also to hear how we on the EC can help them to be a better SIG, basically. So these are things that I've got on my mind. Also noticed, with the new website, when new members sign up, they can align themselves with a SIG. But obviously, older members that are just renewing are not asked this question, and so we probably need to look into how we can make sure everybody aligns themselves if you want to do that. Also, I've renewed my membership through the conference website, and there was no questions about SIGs there. So, be good to have a bit of a look into how we can streamline that process. That's the most important stuff. I think maybe the final point is I think we decided to hold off on creating new SIGs and whether we should allow more SIGs. And I personally think we better still hold that off until after the conference to see whether we want to grow in there or not.
Diane, did you want to add something? Oh, Diane, your microphone is on mute. Click on the microphone.
Okay.
Thanks.
I did it. So first of all, a big thank you to Cornel for stepping in and doing this. And he has lots and lots of great energy, which is going to be great. I think we need to find a balance between, trying to do too much and letting the SIGs kind of find their own pace. So we've been in touch about that. And the issue of communication, as he said, is key between, wanting really having a presence on the website. I think that's really crucial. And then the decision about whether we want to have more SIGs is a decision that we need to make before the Edinburgh meeting, because it will come up there. People will come up to him and say, I'm interested in starting a SIG perhaps for next year. And that was our original goal, to get up to 10 and add, 3 or whatever a year. So that's something that the EC really needs to decide, and just even not to push it, but if someone approaches Cornel or approaches me, approaches someone on the committee, what we want to say.
Yeah, that's a good point, Diane.
We can decide it in Edinburgh at our meeting if we want to do that.
Maybe a question on the report. When it says no update, does it mean they have been contacted but you're not getting reply, or what does that exactly mean?
Yeah, it means exactly that. I've got an email list with all the people that have been listed as chairs or co-chairs, and some also for the meeting that I'm organizing. Not everyone's responding.
Okay, because for example, I know of some things happening which are not mentioned here. And another thing I noticed is for the motivational dynamics group, that Leen Harens, who's my colleague, she asked not to lead anymore. She asked someone else to lead the SIG because she cannot make it to the meeting. But apparently she's still on here, but maybe Pedro also knows this. This is something that needs to be looked into by this group to come up with another leading person.
Yes, we've been we've been discussing it, and it hasn't a natural leader hasn't emerged. So I might take that role for the time being, and we've decided that we will, at minimum, because without a strong leadership between now and Edinburgh, we probably won't do anything as far. So we will adjourn. We will meet in Edinburgh and come up with a solution. And I may be, I may be able to take it on for the next year. But we decided not to go around over email too much and just get a good group together in Edinburgh and discuss it out.
Okay.
That's good to hear.
Cornel, so I just sorry, we could talk about this now with the whole group, but I updated that list with the people who had told me they didn't want to lead. So I'm wondering if I can't remember if that was one of them, but if the new summary that you put together was using the most updated version. Do you know? I would have sent it to you.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm working on whatever latest version I had.
Okay.
I'm also kind of when I'm in touch with the SIG leaders, I send this document along and ask for update, because I think the idea is that indeed all of this or most of this will come on the website, so we want it to be up to date.
Okay, sounds good. And there will be some groups that all they do is come together and talk at the meeting. And I think we need to be okay with that. That's my view anyway. We can see in future years, but that's been my viewpoint anyway.
I agree. And then people are very busy, and this is one more group, one more dynamic, and just meeting at the meeting and setting up some contacts there and throwing some ideas, I think might be good for some groups, not
Exactly.
all necessarily.
Exactly.
Are there other questions or remarks, or maybe remarks on the number that anyone wants to express now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Thanks for the report, and I suggest we indeed for sure come back on this during the Edinburgh meeting, because then we decide on the number how we want to move on. But I think we mainly follow your advice because you both know how things are going, and so feels like this is working really well, and maybe we should stick with your advice and see how things are going. But we'll come back to that for sure.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Okay. Russ, you're on, because Russ cannot make it on Thursday, so we have you to report on the Finance Committee. And since, well, how many, 20 days, you're also our Editor-in-Chief. So please, can you report, but first maybe on the finances.
So you should all have the finance report, which Jennifer and I have produced together, and the budget sheet was produced by Jennifer. I think basically, in a nutshell, financial position is fine, but going forward, we really don't know, because it's completely dependent on the return we're going to get from future meetings. At the moment, it's almost impossible to guess what return we might get from Edinburgh, because we think we're going to have a reasonably high number of attendees, but it's an expensive meeting. And as we heard earlier, the sponsorship's lower than what we initially intended. And then going forward after that, Cape Town's a relatively cheap venue in terms of the potential return to the society, but we don't know how many people will go to Cape Town because we've never been to that part of the world before. And then after that, Victoria is probably a slightly safer bet because it's North America, an attractive venue, but again, you're in the American or Canadian large hotels that are expensive. So I think probably we, as a finance committee, we just need to think about these things. And I think particularly when we're looking at the venue for 2017, which I know is on Thursday's agenda, obviously we want a great location, but I think we probably need to try and find somewhere that's going to give us a good return, to just make sure that we have some confidence going forward. Broadly, finance is fine, but it's all guesswork.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Jennifer, did you want to add anything?
No, sorry, it took me a second to unmute. No, I had nothing to add. I think that's a perfectly good picture of where things are. And you're a good person to ask, Russ. I guess we're still kind of up in the air on the journal. You know, we made a lot of changes in the last year or so, and still not quite sure on revenue versus expenses for it.
Can I be honest? I haven't got anywhere near the journal finances yet. There's so much other stuff going on with the journal that finances has not come anywhere near me.
Understandable. So my best understanding now is that when we connected with the journal folks last year, is that given that we've changed our model, it sounded like we were going to expect more return in balance with our costs for the journal, but that's still in transition. So we don't know what that's going to look like.
And I think getting information out of Biomed on costs is not that easy.
They're bad at invoicing us too. So we never quite know when those costs are going to hit. They're very inconsistent with invoicing. So I worry a little bit about the day-to-day, because they may hit me tomorrow with a $20,000 invoice, and I never know.
I think it's probably appropriate to kind of, well, either you can bury your head in the sand or we can ask for it. Perhaps we'll wait until we get some money from Edinburgh and then ask for it.
Yeah, that probably a good bet. Because I believe they still have not invoiced us for the fourth quarter from last year, and I could certainly pursue that. They may still be putting that together, given that it's only, third week in January. So who knows?
Yeah, they're not the more you deal with them, the more you might. They're not necessarily the most business-minded organization, and it's quite it's quite Byzantine how they work.
Yeah, that good to know.
Does anybody have any questions on the finances?
Maybe just one remark is that because I think being realistic, I think we have we can really expect much lower attendance rates in Cape Town, and that's I think something we also figured when we decided, because it has to be possible. I think have certain years to have somewhat less revenue, and also take the risk of going to these places where we have the advantage of reaching those people we normally reach. But of course, I think we have to be prepared to have a much lower attendance, which does, I think, make sense compared to being in Europe the year after being in Victoria. Maybe one other point, Russ, you wrote on your report is that we will need a new chair. So this is something we will really have to take into account when we have the new EC members, that we have somebody who's willing to take this on, or maybe someone from the new people. So that's something we need to take into account.
Do you want me to move on to the journal?
That's fine.
So yeah, journal. It's a baptism of fire, to say the least. We're working really hard. We're moving forward. We were completely poleaxed when they told us that the editorial system is changing on Tuesday of next week to a completely different system. Having spent 2 weeks learning the current system, that's going to cause us some problems and some delays. So we had Leslie and I had training on it this afternoon, and we think in the long run the change will be far better for authors and will help expedite reviews and will be greatly to the good. But there will be quite a bit of messing about in the meantime. We're pushing ahead in terms of changing the editorial team, particularly to try and increase nutrition expertise and to try and reform the editorial board. There are very large numbers of editorial board members who refuse every request for journal reviews, so we will change that. My goal is to have all of these changes in place by the Edinburgh meeting, and I think that's doable. But it's going to take us a little while to get it. There's a lot in this, and we want to make sure we do it right. So yeah, that's kind of where we're up to. I don't know if anybody has any particular issues or concerns.
Russ, we already discussed this, that there was some concern which was also expressed by some fellows regarding the somewhat long waiting times, but I totally realize you're on top of it and trying to make this better in the coming months, because this is indeed very important. It's quite critical that we keep it, because it has always been one of the really pros of this journal. It was quite low, but lately it really has raised. So that.
Yeah, I think in that respect we're a victim of our own success, in that we're getting many more submissions, and the real issue has been reviewers. We really struggle to find good reviewers, particularly going back to earlier points for nutrition manuscripts. Nutrition manuscripts are very difficult to find reviewers for, so we are deliberately trying to increase nutrition expertise across all aspects of the journal, and we hope that will help address that issue. And so there's some back office stuff we can do in the new system that we think will also reduce the time it takes to get reviewers, and also increasing the number of associate editors should help with that as well, because there are so many different places where manuscripts can get lost or delayed. Not lost, delayed.
And then a second point I wanted to raise, but as you said, and I totally understand you're not into the finances yet, but I think in the coming months we need to look into this, because there's really some concern about this high and raising increasing publication fee. And I think because Biomed told us it's not going to hurt the society because the revenue is linked to it, and that's not going to change for us. But I think it's really important for our members, and I hear voices from lots of sides that it's becoming problematic, that the publication fee is now even increasing and really high. Also, Diane expressed it earlier. So I think that's really a concern of many people, that it's open access, but it's really high, and with this increase, I'm not sure if it will do good to the journal.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult. Unfortunately, Biomed have us over a barrel because we don't own the title. So they own the title. So when we looked at this a couple of years back, Biomed owned the title, and basically we run it for them. So our negotiating power is very limited, and our fees are high. They're not that different to most of the other Biomed journals. They're more or less the same. So I completely agree that it's a problem, but I'm not sure how we're going to get around it.
Yeah. It might also be linked with some reviewers. I've heard some voices from reviewers getting a little bit upset and don't want to review anymore because the publication fee is so high, and they kind of question the entire system in that way.
I think Biomed are making a fortune out of us. And we had an email today that Springer, who own Biomed, are merging with the team that own Nature and Macmillan journals. So there will be a superpower in terms of journals. I don't know how we, I'm not sure how we get around this. I think we missed a trick when we set up the journal, in that we didn't set it up. We basically, the publisher owns the title.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other questions or remarks?
Russ, I was wondering if we're taking advantage of I think it's 4 free papers a year. Is that it?
We are. There are issues with the waivers. We have one waiver that we are linking to the debate session that will be in Isbenpar. So there's one debate symposium at the meeting, and there will be a paper from the debate that will be published within 2 weeks of the meeting. So there's a lot of work going on around that behind the scenes. I was hoping it would be published on the day of the debate, but one of the authors has refused to reveal his hand before the debate. So, which I thought was, well, I tried hard to get him to change it. But so that's one. There's also some issues whereby if people write letters to the journal, we have to give people opportunity to respond, and we're in a bit of a sticky situation with one paper. We will be trying to stop letters to the editor because it uses up waivers, not because of the people that write the letters, but because we have to give a waiver to people to response. And there's a couple who get waivers for inability to pay, but we only get 4 a year, and I think they were all used last year. We're working on it though.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for us? Maybe one last point I wanted to raise, because I was going to raise it in the next meeting, but because Russ, you cannot attend on Thursday, and that's maybe a last point for today, is regarding the issue also Benedict already talked about, and we have mailed about this also a couple of months ago, is regarding indeed having a little bit more working together because the society has 2 paid positions, the executive director and then the editorial assistant, and it seems to me indeed a good idea to see how we can have some more linkage between those 2 positions, so that they can help each other, back up for each other, and have a little bit more stable situation as both of the positions are linked. So we already mailed about this, but maybe there's also some issues you want to express about this idea.
I think my point is I'm not in a position to really comment on the potential capacity of Leslie to help out with other tasks at the moment. She's working completely, she's working really hard at the moment to just get the journal up and running. And it may be that once we get established, there's capacity there. She's very smart and very hardworking, but at the moment, I don't know how much capacity she's going to have in 6 months' time.
Right. Okay.
Russ, can I just add something here? The idea is not to have her helping me only. Is that I can help her on the assistant journal also, because if one of us fail, there's no backup plan. That's the main worry that I expressed to Grit. If she got sick, or if I got sick, or I don't know, something happened to any of us, the journal part will be in trouble, or the executive director role will be in jeopardy also. So my idea is that I can learn the system, and then she can also help me in some way, and then the tasks will be divided by both of us. That's the main thing.
Yeah. In terms of the journal, it might be a bit more. The ability to share some of those tasks is quite complicated. I think we need to think about that.
Okay, I'll let you. I'll talk to you later about this.
Okay. Well, my suggestion would be to end the meeting now, because we have only 3 minutes left. We just had this one last point regarding the terms of reference, but I think we can move that to the agenda of Thursday, unless there's any other point someone wants to raise just for now. Okay, well then I thank you for attending today, and on Thursday we do same time, same system, so we go for Fuse again, and I'm happy it worked quite well, I think. So let's try this again on Thursday. Thank you so much, and good night or good day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Great. Bye.
Bye.